The Penguin himself, Colin Farrell, talks a little bit more about the upcoming Penguin series, and specifically the tone, the rating, and the hard violence we can expect. So this comes at us from a recent interview that was conducted with Colin Farrell by Hey You Guys. And they specifically talked a little bit about the development of the series, the process of bringing the Penguin from the Batman to a TV budget, and how did they keep it in line with the tone and violence of the Batman universe and film. And he goes on and talks about how the Batman Part 2 is in development, but that this is your stopgap to sort of fill in the void and expand that world and how Gotham is perceived right then and there. He then talks a little bit more about that world and how brutal it was, and he says that that's the point of this TV show. It's supposed to be about the darkness in Gotham, the struggle in Gotham, and of course the violence that accompanies the crime and the syndicates there. And he says that everybody would only agree to do it if it was a hard R-rated show. And he says it's going to be exactly that. It's going to get as dark as it needs to get when it needs to get there. So obviously, not every episode is going to be like the darkest thing ever, right? I think some people, the moment they hear hard R, they're like, okay, blood splatter everywhere, heads blowing up, people's faces melting off. It's like, no, no. Take a step back. It just means that they can go there if a scene calls for it. Every episode of Game of Thrones is not the most brutal and violent thing and most action-packed thing you've ever seen. You know? That's how it's handled. You can't just constantly overload the senses to the point where violence becomes normal and second nature. You know, The Boys has this effect to a degree, where if you watch it all in one sitting, by the time you get to the end of the season, whatever Homelander does isn't even shocking anymore, because there's just so much every episode. You can really hurt something by doing that. So I think what they're saying here is pick and choose your scenes carefully, and when they happen, it's going to get violent.